Hey, Larry, you want me to introduce you?
No, I don't think it's necessary. I'm fine.
Great. I'll say it just like you would if you're doing a race.
Oh, no, you don't have to do that. It's okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're indeed fortunate to have with us a living legend, Larry Huffman, CBS color man for the SCORE Off-Road World Racing Championship, announcer for the 1988 Rose Bowl Off-Road Championship, host of the award-winning documentary On Any Sunday Too, king of the motocross and supercross voices, motorsports commentator on Fantasy Island, Night Rider, Chips, San Pedro Beach Bums.
Wait a minute there, partner. I'm just here to take a look at the new Mitsubishi models, and I think to have a pizza. Now, Rich Donaldson, the guy in charge of the tech training here at Mitsubishi, said he's going to make sure that we all had pizza. Has anybody seen the guy who's supposed to bring in the pizza, huh? Well, anyway, if you're going to do a Larry Huffman, ladies and gentlemen, you really got to get in the groove like this. This is it, Mitsubishi fans, the 1989 Service Training Video Spectacular. And what an all-star lineup we've got for you. Not only changes and upgrades to your old favorites, like the Van Wagon, the Starion, the Sigma, and the truck, but a virtually brand new Montero that we think is going to eat up the utility sport competition like a dog and a piece of meat. These are the features everybody's been asking about. These are the modifications that make an already outstanding product line even better. And these are the technical highlights that will establish Mitsubishi as the King Kong of the automotive world. These are...
Pizzas, Larry.
Oh, Rich, buddy, delivered it all. You got promoted, huh? Well, you know, it's easy to get fired up, maybe even get carried away by the 89 models you're about to see. Now, I've done enough racing commentary over the years to know that you can't win if you don't have the best technicians in the business on hand to maintain peak performance. And that's why we're all here. Tech Team Mitsubishi. To have a pizza, courtesy of the service training department, eh? Huh? And the Noi didn't get to this one, let me tell you that, folks. Sit back and learn about the 1989 new model lineup. And since I've got to eat while all this is going on, I've asked for some announcing help in the announcing category.
That's really nice of you, Larry.
Now, I hate to tell you this, buddy, but like I said, we've already got a great product and a winning team.
Mitsubishi tops off the 80s with the latest models of 8 popular vehicles for 1989. Mirage and Galant, both already introduced. Precis, virtually unchanged from last year except for new colors and minor differences in trim. The versatile Van Wagon. Hot-performing Starion. Our full truck lineup. Luxurious Sigma, and a major new version of the sensational sport utility vehicle, Montero. Starting with vans and wagons from the outside in, you'll see some new colors on both base vehicles and the LS wagon. The van conversion package has been discontinued. There's now a high-mounted stoplight inside the tailgate window. On the rear floor, tie-down hooks are positioned at 4 corners, and each one rotates freely for added versatility. To lock either front door, depress the button and push the door closed without lifting up on the handle. Conveniences that continue to be apparent when you check the operation of remote control door mirrors, standard on the LS, with switch located on the center console. Each second seat now has a 3-point seat belt with emergency locking retractor, or ELR, as well as a 2-point belt with automatic locking retractor, or ALR, that can be used for child restraint when the seats turn to face backwards. There's also a new 3-point ELR belt on both sides of the rear seat as well. And now that you're buckled in, notice added illumination on switches for the tailgate lock, the rear heater, and the rear wiper and washer. On the 4G64 engine, there are no jet valves in the valve train, and a higher pressure fuel delivery system, like those on the new Mirage and Galant, eliminates the need for a fuel pressure solenoid. This means the pressure regulator has been redesigned, although the fuel pump remains the same and high-resistance injectors replace the old external injector resistors. In addition, as with Mirage and Galant, you can now read out the ECU's service data using the multi-use tester. And for further service convenience, all inspection and fill points under the hood are colored white for quick identification. Plus, they're even listed beneath the passenger's seat.
Well, I don't know about you, but it looks to me like the '89 Van Wagon is more versatile than a trophy girl at a driver's meeting. And not many can say that. Even I have a tough time saying with a mouthful of pepperoni. Anyway, go ahead and grab your seconds, because coming up now is another hot item. And if you've got racing blood in your veins, you're going to love Starion.
The '89 Starion still looks and performs like the true sports car it is, so changes this year are minor. Colors and trims get a facelift. The rear seat now has 3-point belts with ELR on the 2 outside positions. And as on the Van Wagon, locking either door from outside is simply a matter of pushing the lock lever into position, then closing the door. This is now all it takes to arm the E-Tax theft alarm system. Or you can accomplish the same thing by locking either door with a key. Inside, there's now a one-touch function on the driver's power window switch. A constant light touch will raise or lower the window while pressure's maintained. But push it fully into the down position, release it, and the window automatically opens completely without further pressure. On 5-speed Starions, you'll have new special tools to check differential clutch plate slip torque. There's also a handy new tool for loosening or tightening the hard-to-get lock nut on the KM132. This tool also works on the KM130 and KM135. And under the hood, you'll find the easy-to-spot white filler caps and inspection points.
Starion for 1989. There she goes, ladies and gentlemen, like a 4-wheel rocket ship. What a smoker! What a piece of fine-tuned machinery. What an incredible...
Slow down.
Oh, sorry, I thought it was on flat rate. Well, nobody has to tell you that Starion's a mean machine. And you're a vital part of Tech Team Mitsubishi. You get the equipment and information you need, and then you're the one who keeps us on a winning pace. Take the truck, for example. Now, I've announced a lot of truck pulls on television, but I've never seen a better combination of power and performance than the one offered by the new Mitsubishis.
Trucks for 1989. There are color changes. All-season radials on 2-wheel drive models, and 15-inch P225s on the 4-wheelers. But differences like that can only hint at what's beefed up inside these market-leading workhorses. Start with improved 4-wheel drive acceleration, a full second from 0 to 60. That's a direct result of modified differential gear ratio. Increased capability to stop is equally impressive. The new truck's brake booster is an inch bigger, and the master cylinder's enlarged as well. Where power is transferred to all 4 wheels, there's a new transfer case, reinforced throughout with a higher gear ratio. The same as the new Montero V6, but not interchangeable with prior years. As with the other new vehicles, inspection items under the hood are colored white for easy identification. And for the occupant's ease and enjoyment, there's an optional AM/FM radio and cassette deck with increased output power to all 4 speakers.
Did you hear that? Montero's new V6? Hey, we may be talking off-road history in the making. Hey, Rich, when do we get to that new Montero?
Later, Larry. That comes later.
Oh, bummer. I guess all I can do is stuff my face. What's this? California Luxury Special? Wonder what's on this one. Well, while I check it out, and speaking of luxury, wait till you see what Mitsubishi's doing to put the new Sigma even one step further ahead of the competition. That's not bad. Kiwi fruit and goat cheese. Not too bad.
When you hit the luxury touring sedan market like Sigma did last year, you don't need major model refinements for '89 to keep the buying public interested. Still, improvements to keep pace include a one-touchdown position on the driver's power window. And to lock the driver's door without a key, simply push down the lock knob and close the door. No need to lift up on the outside handle. Inside, wattage of the rear window defogger has been increased, so that during extremely cold weather, it clears the window faster and keeps it that way. When the weather's warmer, for 30 seconds after the key's been removed, E-Tax allows the sunroof to be opened or closed as long as the circuit isn't broken by opening the door. The KM177 automatic transaxle is similar to the new Galant's KM175-5. Using a convenient switch, the driver can select either the power or economy shift pattern. A fluid temperature sensor enhances shifting stability, and the entire transaxle is stronger, more durable, and better designed for improved reliability. There's also the new oil pump. It supplies a greater flow of fluid for better cooling and ultimately longer transaxle life. New special tools are available for kickdown servo adjustment on both the KM175-5 and the 77. To keep the servo from rotating, the servo wrench employs an adapter extension installed to the case. Using the additional two-piece wrench set, make the necessary adjustment and then tighten the nut. In addition to self-diagnosis, the multi-use tester can be used this year for checking service data on the Sigma automatic transmission. And it can force actuate the pressure control solenoid valve to see if the solenoid's working and if the filter is blocked. Same procedure as on the 89 Galant. Attach the pressure gauge to the line pressure port of the transaxle. With the engine running and the transmission in neutral, actuate the PCSV test on your multi-use tester. If the solenoid is working and the filter isn't clogged, the pressure will drop slightly during PCSV operation. Under the hood, Sigmas sold in California have a modified EGR system to meet a more stringent NOx standard. A duty cycle solenoid pulses the EGR valve on and off when the system's in operation. For federal vehicles, Sigma EGR operation is still controlled by a thermo valve like the 88 models. You'll also see those familiar white highlighted inspection and fill points.
Now don't put your pizza down just because I am. It's just that this is the moment I've been waiting for. We're looking at one race I don't announce, believe it or not. But the thing is, this shows a Mitsubishi Montero winning the world-famous Paris to Dakar Rally. And we're talking thousands of miles of sheer torture across the Sahara Desert in Africa, making whatever measly punishment we can dish out here in the States look like a piece of cake. From all this has come a pretty special new rear suspension. But before I get too far ahead of myself, and that's not hard to do when you've been called Supermouth for as long as I have, let me show you the 89 Montero in person. And here's the newest member of the family. Long wheelbase, this baby's so big it could hold the whole Supermoto motocross inside. A new style roof line, and I gotta show you this. To fill the rear washer tank, pull out the extendable neck. Neat, huh? And it'll hold nearly an extra pint. Pop the hood, Ted. Now up front, when you lift the hood,
bang, V6 power, what did I tell you? 3-liter multi-point fuel injection with nearly a third more horsepower and 18% more torque. There's also a choice of either a new top-loader 5-speed or a 4-speed automatic transmission. Actually, it's a little more complicated than that. The 2.6-liter engine is still available on the short wheelbase, but only with 5-speed, no automatic. And this unit still has leaf springs on the rear axle. Automatic is available with the V6 on either short or long wheelbase.
and of course you'll notice that all the filler caps and inspection points have the trademark white for quick identification.
It's a new model year, so the whole Montero lineup gets fresh body and interior colors. And check out the wide tires, too. Under this snazzy paint job, there's been a big improvement in anti-rust protection. Longer life means a significant increase in factory warranty coverage and better value for our customers. Go up top on the long wheelbase version with V6, and there's your optional sunroof. Virtually the same as found on the van wagon, including the safety stop and sunshade. Oh, and the front buckets are enlarged for a lot more comfort and support. And there's an adjustable side mechanism for back support. On the stretch Montero, the wide rear seat has adjustable headrests and even a reclining mechanism. Now look up. The molded headliner is standard with that sunroof.
Okay, I know you want to check out the big mill, and so do I. But first, a couple of additional items.
The air conditioner's got more ice, nearly 10% more output than last year.
And we've got new map lights so everybody in the front can read their road rally maps at night. Now time to get back into that hood.
If you think this V6 looks familiar, it should. Sigma's 6G72 is alive and well under there. It's just that the longitudinal mounting requires relocation of the throttle body, the alternator, and the power steering pump. Other modifications include placement of the engine coolant inlet and outlet and the oil filter. Plus, the cooling fan is belt-driven. And a few details have changed. The exhaust valve seat, engine mounts, and with a 5-speed, a larger starting ring gear. Obviously, the 3-liter engine requires other beefed-up components, such as a bigger radiator, engine oil cooler, which is optional on the standard wheelbase V6, and an automatic transmission oil cooler.
How about the fuel system? Well, basically, you're going to recognize it from the 88 Galant Sigma or the 89 Galant or Mirage engines with dual overhead cams. It has the same service and adjustment procedures, and there's an optional automatic cruise control.
Easy on-off connections are added at the stepper motor and throttle position sensor. And there are 2 types of EGR control systems. In California, to meet lower NOx specifications, the 5-speed is accompanied by a temperature sensor and a control solenoid. Automatics use the temperature sensor but have a thermo control valve. Federal vehicles all use the thermo valve control system. On models with a V6, multi-port injection is like Sigma's. And incidentally, there's a new ROM pack for your multi-use tester. This year, there is a new function that allows the tester to operate as a data recorder. You'll find the data recorder mode under Special Test. The data recorder mode allows you to monitor any 4 input sensors simultaneously. It will also continuously record and store their values for a given period of time before and after a trigger point is detected. The test has 2 modes, manual trigger and auto trigger. In manual, the trigger is set at any time by pressing the yes key. For example, let's say you're going down the road and the multi-use tester is in the manual trigger mode. The tester is recording information on the 4 sensors that you selected. All of a sudden, you feel that surge that the customer was talking about. You press the yes key to make a trigger point in the tester memory. The multi-use tester will continue to record data until you press the clear key. Once the tester is triggered and you have the information you want, you can review the recorded data. 2 sensors are shown on each screen. You'll notice that there is a T in the lower right corner. This identifies the trigger point. The information on the screen, therefore, represents what was measured at the trigger point. By using the yes and no keys, you can change the screen to display the readings on either side of the trigger point. The auto trigger mode works the same way, except that you select the self-diagnosis code that you want the tester to trigger on. Once the vehicle system computer sees a problem in the system which creates that particular self-diagnosis code, the multi-use tester sets a trigger point. This new feature can be used with many of the 1989 models when you use the new ROM pack with a multi-use tester. Oh, by the way, you'll also notice that this ROM pack has the forthcoming Eclipse model on it. Back to the Montero. It has a new easy access to the fuel tank for inspection or replacement of the fuel pump. Fold over the rear seat and pull back the carpet. Simpler than the brain of an average service writer. The tanks are also bigger, nearly 20 gallons on the short wheelbase V6 and up to almost 25 with the long one. Underneath, each tank is enclosed by a removable guard.
You may be pleasantly surprised at how much torque gets to Montero's wheels with the 3-liter engine and 5-speed.
It's due to the new V5 MT1 manual transmission, a heavy-duty truck trans with reinforced transfer case. This new transfer case is not interchangeable with earlier models. Special tools include an oil seal installer for the clutch housing. On the transmission case itself, there's a bearing puller installation kit and a dummy bearing for use in removing and replacing the countershaft bearing. The automatic transmission has also been modified to handle all that additional V6 horsepower and torque. Input shaft size is increased, there's a bigger pump, and a modified valve body provides higher hydraulic pressures. 3-liter power has made other changes necessary too. There's a bigger front differential, same size as last year's rear differential, while the rear has been increased in size too. Gear ratios remain the same. Limited slip differentials are standard on the rear.
Now, I mentioned the new rear suspension that was developed from the Europe to Africa Road Rally. Well, here's what it looks like.
It's a 3-link and coil springs type combined with a rigid axle. Note the torsion bar, big improvement in steering control and stability, not to mention comfort. 3-link means 2 trailing arms and a lateral rod. Each trailing arm is forged for maximum strength. And you'll use this bushing arbor, another new special tool, for removing and installing the lower arm bushing. Coil springs are mounted on the axle housing to increase the life of those bushings as much as possible. And of course, our V6 Montero walk-around wouldn't be complete without mentioning the brakes, which again with a bigger engine are also bigger. Bigger booster and an additional inch in diameter on the front disc rotor.
Big stuff this year for Tech Team Mitsubishi. Now, I've watched a lot of machinery on a lot of tracks all over the country, and I'll tell you, this lineup is hotter than a tire-scorching, nitro-burning, 6-second funny car. I don't know any of you personally, but I do know you by reputation. When he's not delivering pizza, Rich Donaldson has good things to say about the way you guys have applied your training. That means satisfied customers, and that means winning. So thanks for letting me join you. I think I've got the experience to recognize a winner when I see one. And believe me, this 1989 Mitsubishi lineup is a real winner.